Welcome to our lecture online. So now let's do an example with three charges, one of them being a negative charge. They're still all lined up perfectly on the same line, so we know that the final result, the electric field, will be in either the positive or the negative x direction. Again, we're going to follow the rules here, or the steps, draw the vectors and label. So let's start with that. We have Q1, Q2, and Q3, so we'll have three components of the electric field that will then have to be added together. The electric field caused by Q1 will be to the right because it's a positive charge, so the electric field is emanating away from the charge. But it's far away. It's a little bigger charge here, but you can imagine that it's probably going to look something like this. So this is going to be E1. Now for E2 here, caused by Q2, that's a negative charge. So the electric field is towards the charge. And that means we're going to need to draw a vector in this direction. It's closer, but not quite as big, but probably have an electric field that looks probably something like this. Let's call that E2. Again, the subscripts of the electric field vectors are the same subscripts as the charges that cause them. So it's for bookkeeping. It makes it easier to keep track of what we're doing. And then we have a third charge that's much closer. Not as big, but much closer, so you probably will have a strong electric field caused by that. And so here would be E3, like this. And then you realize when we add all those vectors together, the sum of those three will then represent the electric field at that location. That's using the superposition principle. It looks like E1 and E3 together are probably bigger than E2, so it looks like the electric field will be towards the right. So this, something like that, this will be the total electric field at that particular location, and that's what we're trying to find. So again, we have a nice visual on what is happening, which makes the problem a lot easier. Where's my pen here? Maybe this is it. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, find the magnitude. So we have three vectors. We need to find three magnitudes, E1, E2, and E3. So E1 is going to be equal to K times Q1 divided by the distance from that charge to the point of interest squared. So in this case, it's going to be 9 times 10 to the 9th. It's going to be newtons per coulomb. Again, that's not the units of K, but that's going to be the units of the final answer since we're looking for the electric field. Q1 is going to be 6 microcoulombs, 6 times 10 to the minus 6. And then the distance, that's a total of 3 meters away from the point. So it would be 3 meters squared. And so let's see what we get for that electric field magnitude. 9e to the 9th times 6e to the 6 minus divided by 9 equals, and that's 6,000 newtons per coulomb. Like that. Okay, now let's do it for E2. Same process. E2 is equal to K Q2 divided by the distance from that charge to the point, as that's equal to 9 times 10 to the 9th newtons per coulomb. That will be the final answer. Q2 minus 4 microcoulombs. But we don't care about the minus, we just care about the magnitude, not the direction, so we'll just use a positive 4. 4 times 10 to the minus 6, and the whole thing divided by the distance, 2 meters squared. Okay, so the result here, we divide by 6 times 4, and then times 9, divide by 4. And that gives us 9,000. See here, yep. That should give us 9,000 newtons per coulomb. Twice as much. That's 12 divided by 4, 3 times, yep. Okay. And now for the last one. So for E3, do the same thing. It's equal to K Q3 divided by R sub 2 or R sub 3 squared. So again, we have K 9 times 10 to the 9th newtons per coulomb. That will be the final answer, times Q3, which is 2 microcoulombs, all divided by, let's see here, 1 squared. Because now we're only 1 meter away. So divide by 2 times 4 equals, that's 18,000 newtons per coulomb. So now we have the magnitudes of the three electric fields. Now we're ready to do the next step, find the x and y components. Of course, since all of them are pointing in the either positive or negative x direction, we don't have to do that. They're all x components. So then we go to the fourth step, add the x and y components together to find the final, or the total, or the net electric field. So the electric field is equal to, in this case, E1 is pointing in the positive direction, so that's a positive E1. E2 is pointing in the negative direction, so this is where you actually take care of the sign. So here you're going to subtract E2 and add E3 because that's also pointing in the positive x direction. And of course, there we go. That will be the final result. So you give the appropriate sign to the magnitudes and add them vectorially. So this is equal to E1, that's 6,000 newtons per coulomb, minus 9,000 newtons per coulomb, and that should be a large C, not a small c, and then plus 18,000 newtons per coulomb, all in the x direction. And so finally you can see that the electric field at that location is, let's see, that's 9,000 plus 6, that's 15,000 newtons per coulomb in the positive x direction. And of course, again, since it's pointing in the x direction, that's the magnitude, 15,000 newtons per coulomb, and it's in the x direction, so we don't have to do step 5 because we're not pointing at an angle somehow. And that's how we do it with 3 charges and with a negative charge included. So that gives us a good feel for how to go about solving these types of problems where all the charges are linear along the same line and in the same direction and line as the point of interest. Later on, we'll show you some examples where the charges are not all on the same line. And of course, that becomes a little bit more difficult, and we'll have to apply all of these rules when we do that. And that's how it's done.